Part 2. um, so that at least for now, that initial share from yesterday wasn't removed, and I've had some nice responses from that. But I kind of like to continue on with that stream, you know. And I found myself. Somebody made a comment, so I went into my video and offered a response and gratitude for their engagement with my share, and I rewatched my own video, and I stand by everything. I continue to stand by everything that was in that. I haven't changed my mind about any of it, nor do I believe I will. Where does this lead? On an off topic, what I see, what I hear, what appears to be a fellow YouTuber by the handle of I Am Monica had an amazing experience, and she shared her experience. And she saw something in the sky, and try as she may, she couldn't capture it with her phone. I'm guessing it was her cell phone. But as she was holding the camera up, and she's like, pointing, and it's like, it's right there, but it's not, it's not showing up on her screen. And I can relate to that because I've had virtually the same identical experience where I've seen things that are completely unexplainable, unlike anything that you could possibly ever imagine seeing in the sky. And you go and you look at your phone, and your phone, it captures everything around it, but it doesn't capture the object. And I kind of looked into that. A phone is digital, whereas regular, let's just say 35 millimeter film in a camera that you would have developed, they capture different, they capture the spectrum of light in different ways. So it's not, it's curious. It's one of those scratch your head moments. Like, I wonder if a standard type camera with film in it would do a much better job of capturing certain spectrums of light, whereas a digital camera, or the type of image capture on a phone, would not have such good results. But going back to my share from yesterday, and continuing on with that stream of thought, or feeling, I was considering some of the stuff that I did talk about, and I left things out, not intentionally, but in that present moment, it wasn't coming out. Now, I made mention of a person who I've had disagreements with, or arguments, shall we say, or discussions, debates about their perspective, about how they view things from a political, mainstream media, following what is said as true on the news, and from government, and from religion, and from whatever's being on the radio, wherever, that these are the statistics, this is provable scientific fact, and da-di-da-di-da. And, and I made a reference to ignorance, making some ignorant comments that he had made some ignorant comments outside of context. And the gist of it was he had published a meme that was targeting healthcare employees who were disinclined to accept the strongly recommended narrative that every healthcare employee should follow these regulations or they will no longer be able to practice in the medical field. Now that's whatever, and he strongly believes that. But there's two sides to this. And where shall we say the fear narrative comes from and where that's perpetuated, and then there's the factual narrative, and I try to stick with that. What are the facts, not what they're necessarily pumping at you on TV, or the radio, or in your church, or in politics. What are the facts? Being able to discern, and what is it? I'm from Missouri, the show me state. Doubting Thomas. Just because somebody in a position of authority tells me something doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to take their word as gospel truth. They're speaking and expressing from a point of their own interest. And that's not always from a point of integrity. So with that being said, I considered this person and everything that I know about them, which is factual. Why would somebody be so heavily invested in a fear narrative? And why would that make sense to them? Just to show I'm not a twat. And I do go out of my way to put myself in other people's shoes. To better understand them, to better understand myself, and how to have union with someone as opposed to division. To understand what it's like to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes. And when I considered this person's life and their narrative and what they use their free will to engage with, I remembered an occasion. This person is married and his wife has health issues, and for his relationship with his wife, a very loving relationship, I firmly believe that this man and this woman are in love. They love each other and they've been married for a very long time, but she's had some very serious health issues. And I can understand why this narrative is so important to him. He loves his wife and he doesn't want her to die. And that's a very loving attitude to have toward your spouse. And I can understand why he feels so passionately about his narrative. I would simply ask that he put his fears aside for one moment and attempt to see the broader picture. And it's not easy. It's not easy sometimes to put the fear aside. It gets a foothold within us, and it's difficult to shed that fear narrative from our free your minds, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. you know, and much of that mental slavery is fear based. Um, and while I am not a fan, and I've experienced death in my life in numerous occasions, and while I am not a fan of dying, the pain of the process of dying, I'm not afraid of death. Um, and there was this dude who quite a few years ago came around and told us not to fear, that there is something well outside of our understanding that is the truth will set you free. And I'm not a fan of dying, but I'm not afraid of death, as it were. I don't want to die a painful, agonizing uh, death. Who would? Oh, sign me up for that. No, thank you. I mean, if I have a choice, I'd like to pass away quietly and peacefully in my sleep. But I understand his perspective. He wants the best. He wants to make the best choice for his life and the things that he holds valuable. The other thing that I've come, what is true value in my existence? Is it my house or my car or whatever? Is it the grass is greener on the other side? Is it trips and money and whatever? And for me, what I've found is what is valuable to me is the peace that I experience when I lay my head down on my pillow at night, and I know that I have loved, and I am loved, and I get to experience that, and most, if not all, of the fears in my life have been addressed on some level. And the peace of mind that I experience, that peace that surpasses all understanding that I experience when I rest my head on my pillow at night, far surpasses any fears that I may have. And perhaps that's why I'm vocal in the way that I am vocal. One of the things that if this person, now I had said ignorance, he had made an ignorant comment based on, he was basing it from a place of fear, not having all of the facts. So one of the things that they don't really talk about in the news is the ratio of healthcare employees that are and aren't vaccinated. And I'm not going to name statistics. There's plenty of sources out there where you can go and do your own research. And one of the biggest fears that I don't think this man is aware of, in the people that I know in my reality who are passionate about not accepting something into their body, these folks that work in healthcare, if these certain pressures from the government are passed through, that we accept with our own free will, that we accept these things, these healthcare facilities, these hospitals, these doctors' offices, doctors, nurses, everybody, the full spectrum, those healthcare institutions are going to crumble because people are going, in that narrative, people would be let go, fired. Who is going to take care of all the people? Just the people who have accepted? Do you know what kind of workload you're talking about? Numerous hospitals, healthcare facilities, nursing homes, therapy, this, that, and the other thing, they're going to shut down. They're going to shut down. If they follow their narrative, they're going to lose. And I'm not, it's a big number, you guys. It's a big number. Go do your own homework. Use your own discernment. It's a big number. And a lot of these healthcare facilities are going to shut down. They are going to go out of business because they won't have the employees. And the people that I know who have chosen the same path that I've chosen, they feel pretty passionately about their choice, and they're not going to recant. I'm sure there will be some, but it's not going to be that big of a number. And that's if this gentleman who I've, shall we say, been at odds with, you know, and he cares for his wife, he'll see the broader picture and know that certain healthcare options for his wife, if this nonsense continues on the way that it is, and they get their way in their fear narrative, there will be no health care, or certainly not to the level that it's been. They will lose a mass of employees nationwide. People will opt out. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And again, these are people on both sides of the fence who some have accepted and some haven't. But no, genuinely know the facts. There's a ton of information out there, you guys. There is a ton of information, but you have to look for it. They don't put it out there. They don't put it in your, because they're running their own narrative through the media, through the news, through the politics, through religion, etc., etc. If that's all you're being fed, that's all you're being fed. But hey, I want something else, and there is other options, and the truth will set you free. And I'm not suggesting that you do or you don't do something. That's your free will, and I totally respect that. I totally respect that. I enjoy the freedoms of my will. It's not always easy. Most definitely, I think I've made that clear. But I have to, again, I have to sleep. I have to put my head on my pillow at night and be reasonably content that I have loved and I am loved. And at the end of the day, that's really all that matters to me. And I offer to you a peace that I enjoy that surpasses my own understanding, oftentimes. And I offer you that same peace in your life with whatever choices you make. I don't judge. I know what that feels like. Being judged sucks, man. And judging other people sucks. My life is too rich. It's too rich to waste time on fear, doubt, insecurity, anxiety, and what if, I am now in this present moment, and that's quite enough for me. It's very fulfilling, and I offer that same peace to you. Have a wonderful day, and chat soon. Whoops.